Venice is part of the imagination of the world. At its height, the city was the center of one of the wealthiest and most powerful empires on earth. And one of the sources of that power was something that today we might take for granted: glass. My name is Francesco da Mosto, and my family has lived in Venice for over 1,000 years. At the fall of the Roman Empire, they were amongst the people who fled here to the safety of the lagoon. And those early settlers brought a secret with them, a secret which made the city they founded the most dazzling the world had ever seen. This is the island of Murano, and the Venetians have been making glass here for centuries. Glass helped to make Venice rich, highly prized and exclusive, widely regarded as a great luxury. It was an art form at which the Venetians excelled. No wonder they wanted to keep it for themselves. Murano remains the global center of the ancient and extraordinary craft of glass. The Venice Glass Week Festival is dedicated to continuing and supporting its traditions and bringing the art of glass to a modern audience. I'm here to meet Luciano Gambaro, the president of Murano Glass Consortium and one of the organizers of the festival in early September.
Ehi, ciao Francesco!
Ciao Luciano, come va?
Bene, e tu? Benvenuto a Murano.
Sono in vacanza, è una meraviglia.
Sì, oggi non è proprio una giornata bellissima, però si sta bene. Dai, sì. La Glass Week si rivolge proprio al vetro artistico internazionale, naturalmente con un focus particolare su quello che noi riteniamo essere la patria del vetro artistico mondiale, che è Murano. Ci sono fabbriche che fanno oggettistica, oggetti, quelli che fanno i lampadari, quelli che fanno i bicchieri, quelli che fanno le sculture, chi fa gli specchi, chi incide, chi decora. Ecco, questo è proprio il sistema così bello, così variegato che Murano ha, ed è unico.
Che in fondo è una famiglia poi.
Ma sì, siamo sempre una famiglia. Ogni tanto siamo anche in discussione tra di noi, però
come in
tutte le famiglie. Francesco.
My family is historically tied to Murano. In the 18th century, one of my ancestors, Roberto III da Mosto, was the official overseer of Murano's mirror makers, effectively the minister of glass mirrors. But why was glass, in general, so important to Venice? The first recorded mention of a glass master in Venice, bottle maker Dominicus Fiolarius, dates from the year 982, and in the years that followed, furnaces were to be found all over the city. In 1291, however, a law was passed ordering all glassmaking to be concentrated here, on Murano, for two important reasons. First, to prevent the danger of fire from spreading, and second, to ensure that the precious secrets of glassmaking be contained and protected at all costs. As a result, 500 years before the Industrial Revolution in Europe, the island became the first industrial hub in the world. It was a golden age, and today some of those historic firms, such as Baroviera and Toso, founded in 1295, are still going strong. Glass was an international currency. Glass beads were used for trading all over the world, and Venetian glass became one of the most desirable commodities on the market. In Venetian society, Murano's glass masters were highly regarded, considered important enough to marry their daughters into the city's aristocracy. Here, in the Glass Museum, you can still see the crest of some of the glass masters' family, similar in a way to the portraits of the doges which line the walls of the Doge's palace. But for these glass makers, Murano was in fact a luxurious prison. If they tried to leave or pass on their knowledge to outsiders, the punishment was death. In the mid-15th century, a master named Angelo Baroviere developed the technique for blowing crystal glass, a miracle of gleaming purity. By the 16th century, Murano had over 30,000 residents who produced chandeliers, goblets and mirrors, which were famous all over the world. The glamour and prestige of Murano is preserved here, in the Museo del Vetro, which I'm visiting today with the director Chiara Squarcina. Io qui vedo, siamo immersi in cose meravigliose, ma credo che il pezzo più bello sia...
Sì, devo dire che la Coppa Baroviere è il simbolo del Museo del Vetro, è il simbolo di un'arte ed è ovviamente l'icona di questa realtà muranese. Scelte di alcuni maestri veneziani di andare fuori Venezia proprio perché? Perché ovviamente il vetro, i segreti li conoscevano solo loro. La creatività e l'ingegno hanno veramente prodotto delle creazioni inedite e che poi hanno ispirato i successivi artisti.
So, how did they do it? This is Venini, one of the most famous factories on Murano, and they are celebrating their 100th anniversary this year. So maybe they can explain. Ciao Michela!
Ciao, benvenuto Francesco.
Grazie infinite. Mi introduci nel vostro mondo?
Prego, vieni.
Il vetro da come comincia?
Qui abbiamo il privilegio di entrare nella materia vetro e quindi sabbia silicia.
E che proviene da dove?
Da cave aperte, una sabbia dolce, un microgranulo di quarzo che insieme a calce e soda vanno a costituire il vetro e con i pigmenti metallici diamo il colore.
È una che viene dalla Francia anche?
È la sabbia comunque.
Montpellier, no?
No,
Fontainebleau, ecco, è brava. È una meraviglia, guarda che chiara che è.
Sì, è una sabbia purissima, di una qualità eccellente. Questo avviene in una composizione di ricetta anche segreta, dove Venini in 100 anni di storia conserva da generazioni ricette delle più svariate sfumature. È una proprio manifattura.
E poi è diciamo che è un procedimento alchemico segreto.
Assolutamente, sì. E qui siamo in fornace.
E qui che si sente già il calore.
Sì, siamo al primo piano.
Buongiorno.
Il vetro è liquido, il maestro con la canna da soffio raccoglie il vetro liquido dal crogiolo.
Che sta acceso tutta la notte il crogiolo?
Sempre.
Sempre, continuatamente?
Sì. E attraverso l'aiuto di borselle e compassi va a realizzare la forma a mano libera. Questo è un vetro dal design iconico, si chiama Ballotton.
Ballottone.
Ballottone, la caratteristica è la texture che viene ottenuta tramite un imprinting della materia.
Ah, è la materia che si...
Poi il vetro viene soffiato, la borsella per dare la forma.
Sì. Che bisogna anche...
Qui dà un bordo a caldo di un colore diverso.
Fantastico.
Una gestualità compiuta nella capacità di capire il ritmo, di comprendere il momento giusto, di comprendersi anche tra loro. Quindi loro lavorano in team.
Wow. È un'idea di nascita, di crescita. Guarda che meraviglia.
Per i vetri più piccolini è sufficiente 24 ore, mentre per i vetri più spessi arriviamo anche a 36 ore.
Che il materiale vetro è un materiale vivo.
Sì.
Quindi anche mentre lui si raffredda è un qualcosa che continua a cambiare. E il vetro com'è? È un materiale, non so, diciamo vivo?
Il vetro è vivo. E questa è la classica murina di Carlo Scarpa, ideata negli anni 40.
Fantastica.
Si chiama murina dama.
Morina dama.
Sì, murina dama.
Bellissima. Wow, guarda come diventa luminosa. It's a magical process, but it certainly doesn't belong to the past. The Venice Glass Week also celebrates the new generation of glassmakers who have established thriving businesses on the island. So I'm going to meet Murano's youngest maestro, Roberto Beltrami, at his furnace, Wave Murano Glass. Nice to meet you, Francesco.
Nice to meet you, I'm Roberto.
I was watching you, creating
Thank
a
you.
pappagallo. How do you say in English?
Parrot.
That was fantastic, and I
Thank
saw
you.
that you're still full.
Yeah.
It's hot there.
It's quite hot in July, yes.
But why did you choose to work on glass?
Well, it's kind of a long story, but to make it short, I was always curious as a child with working with my hands, with materials. I worked with wood, metal, tin, plastic, paint, everything, and fire. I loved fire, and then I ended up studying physics at university because I wanted to find out how things worked. And one day I was studying in Boston University, and I saw this exhibition about glass from Dale Chihuly, and I fell in love with it, and I decided to switch my life around, and I moved to Murano, and I started working from the lowest level, and I worked my way up, and then 5 years ago I opened this company. Most other materials are not really bound by time like a sport is, but with glass, every moment you have it in your hands, it's changing. It's becoming more viscous, harder, colder, and you have to manage, you know, the temperature of a material as well as the shape. And there are so many challenges with it that it makes it so satisfying to be able to create something and finish it and show it to people and say like, yes, I made this out of glass. I was able to tame the material and to create something. I think it's mostly about knowing the material and being able to predict what the material will do, and that's why my science background really helped me with learning it, because there's so much physics involved with glassworking, but you know, most of the times things are approached way more empirically than I like.
When you work on a team in glassmakers, very often the moments of understanding is through the eyes, that you just have a look and you understand exactly what you have to do.
That's a sign of a good team. But sometimes you still need to communicate. And if you're making new things and new ideas, you need to communicate with your team. And there are some gestures and just some, like, you know, you look somebody in the eye, they know you want them to start and do something. But, you know, you also need some communication. Yeah.
I see in your eyes how much you love what you are doing. It's
yeah,
that,
I really do. I would sleep on that couch if
I
I could.
can understand.
The best place in the world to learn glass is Murano. Why would I go to a college in the US to learn something that, you know, my own country is the best in the world at? And so I came here, and it wasn't easy, I must admit, but it definitely was worth it, because in Murano there are the most skilled glassblowers in the world. They have such a control of a material that is uncomparable to anything I've seen in the rest of the world.
I can imagine that at the beginning it must be.
Yeah, also because I was from abroad.
Yeah.
So from Brescia, I was a Foresto, yes.
Wow.
I still am. They call me the Bresciano in Murano.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And see you soon.
See you soon.
At the Venice Glass Week.
Yes, and I wanted to thank you, the Venice Glass Week and the Consorzio Promovetro, for their help and what they did for the glass in general, and helping the companies of the island, which are not going through such a great time with COVID and the crisis. Yeah. So thank you.
E complimenti, sai.
Grazie.
I have lived in Venice all my life. Yet here on Murano, I found so much to explore and to learn. And you can too if you join me here in September for the Venice Glass Week. Glass might be fragile, but it's one of the most enduring foundations of my beloved city.
Viva Vetro!